Good evening, everyone. It's Tom Sydney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Psych Club from the Tom Numbers Show. News with Tom Numbers on top of your game, and I've got my buddy that's always at the top of his game, ISMAEL PEREZ. It feels like forever, ISMAEL. It's been a while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, Tom. I've been working so hard to reproduce my very first book that I wrote back in 2008. Well, actually, I started writing it in 2003, but I published it in 2008. And as I was rewriting it, the last 2 weeks working my fanny off 12 hours a day, because a lot of people were asking me to put the book out again, which is this one right here, but of course it's going to have a different cover. The Secret Government. In this book, Tom, I was actually revealing not only the entire history of the Dark Brotherhood, which is what we call the Cabal, of course, but I was also talking about the history of the White Hats and how it relates to a bloodline association, which could be traceable back to, get this, the original Israelites, not the fake Jews of today that are in Israel, but the original Israelites, whose descendants are Princess Diana, of course, 45. And believe it or not, Tom, our founding fathers were also part of that original lineage. So the opposite bloodline to that has been known as the Luciferian Babylonian bloodline. And that bloodline was installed 6,000 BC, 5,000 BC, my bad, by a gentleman by the name of Ham. Well, Ham happened to be the third son of Noah. See, all roads lead to right after the flood event, So Noah had three sons: Shem, who many believe was Melchizedek or was overshadowed by Melchizedek, which is the high priest of righteousness, right? Who established the covenant with Abraham originally, 3,200 BC. And then he had Japheth. Japheth was another of his righteous sons, and Ham. Well, Noah was a demigod. Noah was actually the son of Enlil, Zeus, not Enki. Those tablets were inverted, by the way. In my third book, I'm going to be exposing the truth about Zachariah Sitchin and the Sumerian tablets and how they were all inverted. So yeah, to the effect that Enki did not make us, he just kind of downgraded us. But the whole point is this: after the flood, after you could say Enlil, Zeus, who also went by the name of Jehovah and Yahweh, our biblical Yahweh, right? It was the same, the same gods of mythology are the Nibirians of planet Nibiru, and they are the same angels that worked with with certain biblical figures like Abraham and Jacob and the 12 tribes, which are a metaphor, to reveal who these descendants are. A lot of this is a repeating story from Lyra. Of course, the original Lyrans also had 12, the original 12 tribes of human beings. But the whole point is that Noah was educated in the ancient mystery school teachings, and he imparted that education over to his three sons. But Ham, the third son, decided to go wayward, and he sided with the Luciferian Anunnaki, which are the Enki factions, the Enki and the Marduk factions. And so he defected against the light. The people of Shem later evolved into the righteous lands or the righteous cultures that led to prosperous living societies like the original Mesopotamian people of ancient Sumer, before they became corrupted by Babylon. Well, I made the correlation in my book that Ham was actually the great-grandfather of Nimrod, who was the person who he was metaphorically building the Tower of Babel. See, that's another metaphor describing his attempts at installing world domination. So this idea of an NWO, one world government, could actually be traceable back to Nimrod. And so what Ham did is Ham actually struck a deal with the reptilians. He struck a deal with the reptilian Anunnakis. There's two factions of Anunnakis. Not all the Anunnakis are bad, just like not all the Elohim are bad. You have the righteous Elohim who are working in alignment with the one infinite creator, that are of light, that are working with the light. And then you have those that rebelled against the light, against unity consciousness, those that are for distortion, those that are, for separative consciousness, which gave us duality, of course. So the negative Anunnaki are those that are part Nibirian, part reptilian. So that is traceable back to Enki, whose mother was the queen of Orion, by the way, well, the queen of the Regel, which is where the Draconians first established a stronghold in our galaxy. Again, all roads lead to Babylon in our world, but technically all roads lead to Orion when it comes to tyranny, right? So the whole point is Ham decided to strike a deal with Marduk, who was a reptilian.
Three-star general in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, so he struck a deal with Marduk where he used his body to impregnate a human female. Because after the flood, after Enlil Jehovah wiped out the seed of the serpent, known as the Leviathan bloodline, right, of Lucifer, which was brought to us by Enki during the times of Atlantis, not to mention wiping out the Nephilim, who were, the negative giants that were carnivores and they were eating humans and they were wreaking havoc and they were just corrupting the original angelic bloodline of Adam. And so the flood needed to happen. All right. The flood happened by the positive Anunnaki, those that did not contain reptilian genetics, in order to kind of reset civilization and only allow the pure line of the angelic seed, which was preserved by Noah. Noah he was uncorrupted. He was uncorrupted. And then later, through his son, Shem and Japheth, they had their children. And that explains why when we read about in the Bible how the early Israelites, and I want to make the distinctions. The political Zionists of today that are running Israel are not the original descendants. Those are fake Jews. Those are coming from the Nimrod Esau bloodline, which I reveal perfectly in my book, The Secret Government. They don't come from the seed of King David, all right? They don't come from the seed of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, who are the original Israelites, the original Druidic bloodlines that could go back to, you could actually trace them back to the original descendants of Abraham. But the reason that they weren't allowed to mix with the Canaanites, my friend, it was in other tribes back then, which the Bible metaphorically describes them as having blemishes. It was because the other ones were corrupted. They had a lot of the reptilian genetics. They came from Babylon. So Babylon was a reptilian human experiment. And so Nimrod was part human, part reptilian. Nimrod, whose ancestors or whose descendants today are the Khazarians, the Zionists, the people who are running the show, right? The people, the NWO, whatever you want to call them, and who are trying to pose as descendants of King David in order to fool the people, in order to make themselves seem like they're the proper inheritors of righteousness or of divinity, or they're trying to pose as the original kings, but they're not the original kings. They're actually the original emperors. And so what ended up happening was the flood needed to happen in order to restart our world and do away with the reptilian genetics of Leviathan, of the serpent gene that could be traceable to Draco. And then, of course, what Ham did is Ham completely created another, he went against God by what? By using his body when he struck a deal with Marduk to once again create a human reptilian hybrid. And that's why in the Old Testament, it was prohibited for the early Israelites, who were carriers of the original angelic human DNA, which is Lyran, Pleiadian, and Syrian, not reptilian, brother. Lyran, Pleiadian, and Syrian, who are our original ancestors, by the way. That's what makes us human angelics, So in order to preserve it, so that's why they weren't able to mix with other Canaanites or Amorites, and the Bible clearly talks about that. There's a lot of metaphors in the Bible describing this battle between, the righteous bloodline of King David, which today we see in the form of 45 Princess Diana, JFKs, the Kennedys, and so on and so forth. It's an ancient old plot, brother. It's an ancient old battle. It could be traceable back to Babylon. So the whole point is that the concept of the NWO, this idea of world domination, originated with the reestablishment of the Leviathan bloodline through Ham, who was the great-grandfather of Nimrod. So Ham decided to strike a deal with Marduk, and that explains why Marduk later became Belial. Belial, who was the chief pantheon god of Babylon. Well, Nimrod, his great-grandson, in 32-something BC, was trying to erect world domination. Well, it turns out that Nimrod was receiving help from the reptilians. They were receiving advanced technological knowledge, and in order to surpass spiritual growth. And so again, the positive Anunnaki who were working with the original Israelites, who the Bible calls the angels, by the way. The angels of the Bible, the Anunnaki, and the gods of mythology are all one and the same. So you have two factions, of course, the righteous faction, or the angelics, those that do not carry the reptilian genetics, were working with the original Israelites, right? And that explains the covenant and pact that Melchizedek established with Abraham. So Melchizedek was a positive Anunnaki, you could say. He was an angel. You know, the Bible calls him an archangel. Well, the whole point is this, brother, is that this last battle taking place between what I call in my book the White Knights in 2007, when I was writing this book, when I was talking about how they were able to establish the Nasara Law and and you know, the National Reformation Act, which later led to the Global Reformation Act, and the redistribution of funds, and how that entails the exposure of the people that have been running our country and pretty much the world, was actually something that I've been talking about in my book 18 years ago, prior to everybody else that, you know, recently within the last 5 years said, oh yeah, the white hats are real, you know, the white hats are real. But I used to call them the White Knights. I used to call them the White Knights. And there's even a chapter 19, which is the Nasara chapter. And so yeah, I talked about this, you know, 18 years ago. Are you there, Tom? I don't see you anymore.
I'm
Oh,
here.
oh, there you go. I don't know
I'm
what
back.
happened. That was weird.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
I was saying
so
that, like, your book looks almost like a Batman cover with the Dark Knight, but the white.
well, it's
This,
actually, the cover is for the upcoming edition, The Secret Government, the History of the Brotherhoods, because they are a brotherhood. You know, the Luciferian Brotherhood is directly associated with the serpent gene, the reptilian genetics, and whose elite families carry a high concentration of. And so what I revealed in this book is I not only traced this battle between the brotherhoods going back to ancient world, but I also related it to the bloodline association, right? So basically, what ended up happening was, after Nimrod was trying to establish world domination through the Tower of Babel metaphor incident. And by the way, he was never trying to build a literal building that could reach the heavens in order to reach God. That was just an allegory, okay? Again, 700 books were left out of the Bible, you know, and then not to mention even the Bible was re-edited by the Council of Nicaea, and the same people, right?
constant, yeah.
Rome, and the same people in Rome who come from the same bloodline of Nimrod. So what I've detailed in this book in great detail, brother, is not only all the modern events that were all orchestrated, including all the wars in the last 1,000 years, not just the First and the Second World War, which was known as the Second 30-Year War, which was, you know, again, fomented by the, I don't want to say, but, you know, we could say all roads lead to Rome, right? You know, there is a link between the international financiers, right, the 12 ruling bloodlines, and the intelligent military order of, you know, the people that run the Vatican. It starts with a J, JUSU, you know what I mean, Jesuit.
I know what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have been in the last 500 years. That is the Vatican element, you know. So basically, my whole point is that this concept of a one world government, new world order is nothing more than the resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire, and that's been happening for the last 500 years, and even more so when you even consider the idea that we did have overt empires like the Roman Empire 1700 years ago, which was again the reorganization of the ancient Babylonian networks. Okay, after Ham, after he tried to establish world domination with advanced technologies. By the way, Ham was the first one that wanted to develop anti-gravity aircraft, but people weren't spiritually evolved to really understand, you know, advanced alien tech. And all this technology was given to Nimrod by his reptilian uncles, through Belial, which is Marduk, who was the one guiding Nimrod. So yes, the negative Anunnaki never left. They always stayed behind the scenes, and they have been running the cabal for thousands of years. And later, what they did is they infiltrated the golden age of Egypt, and they corrupted it, right? They corrupted the original temples, which were led by the Brotherhood of Light, the Osirian groups, Isis and Horus. Those were the good guys. And then later, of course, they came back to Egypt to infiltrate it and establish the Ramses bloodline when Akhenaten Moses was the rightful heir to the throne. And Akhenaten Moses was also part of the righteous bloodline that could be traceable back to Abraham. So the whole point is that we've seen multiple attempts at this, world tyranny agenda throughout all of history. And the only reason, brother, that they have never been successful was because of the white knights, which today we call the white hats. See, the white hats have always existed. The white hats could also be traceable back to not only Abraham and Melchizedek, who are the original, and it has nothing to do with being Jewish. It has to do with preserving Lyrian, Pleiadian, Syrian genetics as opposed to reptilian genetics. All right. It turns out that the Cabal families today, the reason they want to enslave us is because they believe that the reptilians, their overlords, are the rightful inheritors of planet Earth, and that's why they call us the cattle. In fact, they outlined their plan and blueprint for world domination, which was laid out by the Black POP, general who runs the Cabal, titled the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which were 24 protocols, and which I detailed here, by the way. And everything that's been happening, my friend, in the last 200 years, including their attempt at establishing the first League of Nations in Europe, which they failed in 1815 due to the Congress of Vienna. Did you know that the attempt to establish the European Union was actually something that was thwarted 100 years prior to 1915? That's another thing that was left out of the history books, but it's all in here. And the White Hats back then, known as the Blue Lodge Masonic Brotherhood, which was the only one that remained loyal to the original Knights Templars before they were infiltrated by the Bavarian Illuma. I'm not going to say the Bavarian. When they created the High Shriners, and all of a sudden all the different networks of these secret brotherhoods were infiltrated. Well, the only ones that remained loyal were the Blue Lodge. Well, it turns out that the Blue Lodge, the reason they're called the Blue Lodge fraternity is because they correspond to the big blue star of Sirius. See, in our galaxy, Sirius B is they are the primary governing administrating body of light within our galaxy. Sirius B and Lyra, of course. But Sirius B is the great blue star. That's why they call themselves the Blue Star on the Blue Lodge. And even our founding fathers were not High Shriners. They were blue. They were Blue Lodge. So there is a difference. There is two functions, even within the Masonic fraternity. However, unfortunately, after they established our country, the Blue Lodge faction, which are the good ones, unfortunately, the dark side infiltrated, all of the what we call today what remains of the free MASON fraternity club. But yeah, it's all detailed in my book, brother.
Well, there's a lot in there that I haven't heard of the Blue Lodge before, but I'm just looking at that. So that actually comes to 83, or the Blue Lodge 116, which is country. But Blue Lodge comes to the, hang on, let me just check. Yeah, Blue Lodge 83, which comes to faithful, actually. So if they were the good ones, they're faithful. We talked about it before, and I was doing some numbers on it earlier, but and I'm glad you brought it up. So Knights Templar, the original ones, the good ones. Knights Templar, Knights is 88, Trump. Templar is 85, which is Storm, which is Silver, which is Awakening. So you could say Trump Awakening or Trump Storm. That's 173. And JFK you mentioned. So when JFK was born on May 29th in 1917, if you go to his events of November 22nd, that's 173 days in the calendar. 173 is Knights Templar. So everything's been coded, everything's been mapped out, And you mentioned, well, actually, I wanted to ask you about this. So I guess, doing shows for about 1.5 years now. I think you kind of burst onto the scene 2022, I think it was, around the springtime, summertime, something like that. And you've always been talking about this event, the solar flash, probably in 2024. Now, something's come to my attention about the last 5 days that is quite fascinating. And there's the solar eclipse that's coming.
Not to mention the pole shift. The sun's going to have every 11 years it goes through this pole shift cycle.
Okay.
So it's about.
So is that what you think is going to happen with that solar eclipse? There will be a pole shift. Is that what you think?
Yeah,
okay.
Which is going to exert the biggest CME ever. And that's why even, even the people that are like people on the news are saying that, this summer we could have a massive solar flare that could wipe out the grid system. Just letting you guys know that, if this solar flare wipes out the grid system, we're not going to have access to electricity, internet, or anything. It could be weeks, it could be months. So even those people are telling others to prepare, because they know that this solar flare is going to wipe the entire grid out.
So do you think the eclipse is like a precursor for the solar flare, the solar flash?
It could be, I did have a vision as I was writing our Cosmic Origin years ago that the great solar flash would happen in 2024. So we'll see if my vision comes to light, brother. But at the same time, what they failed to tell us is that this CME, this solar energy that's going to be coming in, that is going to, yes, knock out our grid system, but it's also going to activate our dormant DNA. So it's going to switch on those dormant genes that have been laying dormant for thousands of years. Which means that people are going to actually regain their abilities as they once had, not us, but our ancestors during Atlantean times, when people were living for hundreds of thousands of years, super psychic, very intuitive. Some people had telekinesis. Everybody was telepathy. Everybody had telepathy. Other abilities, I always call it the X-Men, the rise of the X-Men due to the solar flash.
For the X-Men. So in numbers, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. The 24th letter of the alphabet is X. And so we're in the 24th year of 2024, X. Twitter went to X, got all these X coins, and X marks the spot. And this solar eclipse, they had the first path in 2017, August 21st, and now April 8th. It's intersecting, and there will be this X. So the interesting thing as well about that is, so I was thinking it was maybe 100 miles or so from Kansas City, Missouri, because I think a lot of things are going to happen around there. Things like maybe New Jerusalem and stuff like that. And anyway, that will probably come in time. We'll see more about that if that's the case or not. But someone who lives in the area, I did a show on it yesterday or the day before, but it was put out yesterday. And they said, well, actually, it's a little further. It's about 400 miles away. And they've told me this. I've never heard this place. So it's a place called Carbondale, Illinois. Carbondale is 75. Which is magic wand. And President Trump said, I guess we have a magic wand. And then Illinois is 99, which is ascension, which is patriot, which is judgment. But if you add those together, it's 174. 174 comes to real Donald Trump. It comes to Eye of the Storm. It comes to the quantum leap. It comes to currency exchange. It's the first piece of numbers that President Trump gave to us when he was first coming down the escalators, because if you remember, above him and Melania's head in Trump Tower 169, the Great Awakening 169, they come down the escalators, and the first piece of number code right there in plain sight for the world is currency exchange, with the RV, etc., and the reset. But currency exchange is 174, which is real Donald Trump, which is Carbondale, Illinois. And it happened on the 167th day of the year in 2015. And I actually met Ivanka Trump, his daughter, 5 days prior on the 11th of June. June 11th comes to 141, Tom Bushnell, Quantum Leap 141, Reincarnation 141. But the 167th day of the year, June 16th, 167 comes to the solar eclipse. Just fancy that, brother. You know, the solar eclipse, and then 174 is currency exchange, which is Carbondale, Illinois. I mean, that's pretty cool. Something's coming, you know, something.
We are in a leap year too.
Exactly. We're in the leap year. And leap, guess what leap comes to? It comes to 34, comes to grace, comes to kick. In the film Inception, they got the kick to jump through the levels, the dream levels. Dream is 41. Reincarnation is 141. It's a palindrome of 41. But kick or leap year is 40 is 34, but 34 comes to DJT, Donald John Trump. So we're in the leap year. 24 is a leap year, and we're in this leap year, and this all of a sudden it's been there for ages, but I wasn't aware of it until about 5 days ago. This intersecting X solar eclipse, you know, part of me wants to go out and see it. It might be cloudy, you know, maybe it won't, probably won't be, but it sounds very interesting. And yeah, carbon, and you know, so we've spoken a bit about this before about being activated, so our carbon will go crystalline. Think of the place where the X is taking place, and X is obviously in DNA chromosomes. You've got XX and you've got XY, and XY is I always get confused. Which one's X? Which one's female? Is it XY or is it XX? I get confused.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you do XX, that's 48, which is Tom. You know, I like that. You've talked about the 48 strands of DNA, and then if you do XY, that's 49, which is yes, which is also crash, and we think there's probably some kind of financial crash change this year. But the interesting thing about this is the actual period of darkness at the epicenter of Carbondale. So it's the, you know, it gives you the feelings and understanding of, you know, maybe you're upgrading your DNA carbon, because we're carbon going to crystalline. I mean, crystals, you know, diamond is carbon, but we're being upgraded. And the time of darkness is actually 4 minutes and 9 seconds long. And 49, so 409, 49. 49 is XY for the, you know, chromosomes, but also XY is 49, which is yes. And the first one that happened in August 21st is 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which is 160 seconds. And then the one that's going to happen in a few weeks' time is 4 minutes and 9 seconds. That's actually 249 seconds, which is, it's actually Tom Welcome.To.Psych.Club, which is interesting. It's 17, the military, the quantum 17. But you add them together, and it's the two of them together, 160 seconds plus 249 seconds, again comes to 409 seconds. So it's either 4 minutes and 9 seconds, that's the one that's going to take place. But if you add them both together and you put it into seconds, is actually 409 seconds again. That's interesting, you know. And if you add the two 49s, 49 plus 49, or the 409 drop the 0, 49 plus the 409 seconds, 49 plus 49 is 88, or yes. So you got the Trump thing, but also it's 98 in numbers. 98 is Romanov. That goes back to the bloodlines. Diana's funeral service started at 9:08 in the morning. 9 plus 8 is 17. So everything is all being coded. And it's like, it's amazing. And there's that phrase about the millionaires look at, I don't know, markets or such and such, but billionaires look at the stars, you know. And it's like, something's coming, and I'm excited for it, you know. So
yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Romanov, because when the cabal back in the early 1800s, as early as 1810 and 1815, again, they try to implement the League of Nations in order for it to evolve into the European Union 100 years prior to 1915. And the only reason they were blocked was because of the czars of Russia, which is history repeating itself when you think about it, right? Well, guess who is the new czar of Russia that is also working with the White Hats, that is now blocking the expansion of NATO and the European Union? Mr. Putin. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See how history repeats itself, huh?
If you do his full name, V
Yeah.
and then P, that's 168, which is New York City. That's where I had my first meeting with Ivanka, and President Trump came down the escalators on it. There's also two ways to spell Romanoff. So you can do it with a V at the end, or you can do it with OFF.
Oh, okay. I was thinking or FF because I think it was the
two ways. The two ways. But the one
Yeah.
if you do it with the two Fs at the end, that comes 88, which is Trump. And there's something to do with the two birds, the dark birds. That seems to be on his golf course, the symbology of it, and the whole. There's something, and Russia is 87 in numbers, which is truth, justice. But Moscow, the capital city, is 88, which is Trump, which is Romanov with the two Fs, which is Tartaria.
Yeah.
You go across Europe.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go across Europe. Budapest is 88 in numbers as well, for Hungary, and Copenhagen, Denmark. So Copenhagen's 88, and then good old Scotland, the country Scotland's 88, and Edinburgh's 88 as well, the capital city. So, and you add those together, 88 plus 88, or Scotland, Edinburgh, it's 176, which is November the 5th, which is Back to the Future. And when I bumped into Ivanka, I actually wrote to President Trump's office before he announced being president to come to this soccer event I was in New York, and I got a nice letter back from them, email from the office, and they said unfortunately they can't because Don Jr. and President Donald Trump are cutting the ribbon in Scotland, and Donald J. Trump Jr. is 176, which is Back to the Future, which is Edinburgh, Scotland. So it all leads back to the numbers, to the good side of the matrix. We're able to work it out. Yeah, I'm excited for what's coming. I do like this astrological element though, because I love looking at the stars, and I've always been a fan, and I should study more, but I know certain parts of it. And there's 88 official constellations in the night sky. There's more, but there's 88 constellations. 88 is Trump. 88 is Romanov, OFF. 88 miles per hour in Back to the Future. You have to time travel. It's like 88 is yes, 49, 49. It's just kind of never ending,
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned 88 constellations. Well, could it be 88 plus the 12 main constellations known as the zodiac, which
you've got the zodiac as well,
zodiac, so which would make it 100 constellations. And according to my research, there's 100 constellations that make up a local universe. Yeah, a local universe. To give you an example, so we live in the local universe of Nebadon, and this information is verifiable in the Urantia material. For those that haven't read that book, it's dense, but the cosmology aspect, the Urantia papers, Urantia papers, yeah.
Urantia papers, okay.
So, according to that book, our planetary sphere, which is 606, is part of a system that consists anywhere from 600 to 900 worlds. Okay, so we're part of the system of the Pleiades.
606. 606.
606, yeah. So Mars is 607.
The phone number ends in 606.
Oh, really? Well, planet Mars is 607 within the system. Planet Venus is 605. So we're 606, right? Every number has a Stargate number.
Okay.
So we're planetary 606 within a system that has anywhere from 600 to 1,000 worlds, inhabited worlds. Well, that system is known as the Pleiades. Of course, according to the arranged material, they call it Satania, but it's really known as the Pleiades because our solar system is the 8th missing star that revolves around Alcyone, which is the central sun of the 7 sisters. So there are 7 major stars within our local star cluster with innumerable minor stars, a total of 52 solar systems that make up the system that we're a part of. So we're part of the local star cluster of the Pleiades, which is system number 24. And get this, our system number 24 is part of the 70th constellation out of 100, and that constellation is known as Sirius. So just as our sun revolves around its parent suns, Alcyone revolves around Sirius B in a revolution or in a cycle of 226 million years. And then at the same time, Alcyone, our constellation, which is number 70 out of 100, is part of a local universe number 84. So because we do live in an organized multiverse, our particular universe is considered number 84 within the cosmic structure of the multiverse. So our universe, which is number 84, right, is part of a bigger cosmic sector, minor sector known as, I believe it's known as Ansra. And there's a total of 100 of those. So each cosmic minor sector has
Ezra.
about
Ezra.
100,000. Enzra.
Enzra.
Yeah, Enzra, Enzra. And so Enzra only has 100,000 local universes that make up Enzra. All right, so within Enzra, we're local universe number 84 out of 100,000 local universe. But there's also 100 minor sectors, just like Enzra is one of 100. So everything's divided in brackets of 10 and 100 according to this cosmology. And so we're part of Enzra, which is sector number 10 out of 100. And then Enzra is part of a major cosmic sector known as Splandon, Splandon, Splandon. So there's only 5 of those. Yeah, so we're part of the fifth. We're part of the fifth, and there's 4 other ones. Those other ones also have 100 minor sectors within them, and each minor sector has over 100,000 local universes. And so our major cosmic sector, which is number 5, is known as Splandon. And then Splandon is part of the 7th super universe. And there's a total of 7 super universe. So we're part of the 7th super universe. So basically, if you're looking at it from the top down, we're part of the 7th super universe, right? There's 6 others. There's a total of 7 that make up the grand central universe, the motherverse. So we're part of the 7th segment. Within the 7th segment itself is composed of 10 major cosmic sectors. And then within each cosmic sector, there's 100 minor cosmic sectors. And then within each minor cosmic sector, there's 100,000 local universes. And then within each local universe, there's 100 constellations. And then within each constellation, there's 100,000 systems. And then within each system, there's anywhere from 600 to 1,000 worlds. So from the top down, we're part of the 7th super universe. Within that, as we go lower, we're part of the 5th major cosmic sector out of 10. Within that, we're part of the 10th minor cosmic sector out of 100. Within that, we're part of the 84 local universe out of 100,000 within that cosmic minor sector. Within the 84th local universe, we're part of the 70th constellation, which is Sirius. They call it Sirius. And then within that, we're part of the 24th system, because Sirius is comprised with about 100,000 systems. That's what makes the constellations 100,000 systems. And then within the 24th system, we're planetary 606. Man, when I first figured that one out, at first it was a little bit over my head, but after a while it makes perfect sense. Everything's in numbers, the entire multiverse is organized within numbers. And that explains every planet, every star, which is a sun, every system, constellation, universe, and so on and so forth, has a number because it's part of the organization of cosmos.
It makes sense. It's like
Yeah.
a holographic filing system. It's like sector. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, those holographic advanced technologies do exist, brother, where they map out the entire multiverse. Oh yeah, they do exist. Yeah, they have them within. They use them in Jupiter. Due to the Jupiter command is in charge of those. So basically, our solar system is at the head of our solar system. We have the Jupiter command. The Jupiter command, you could say they are kind of like the good guys within our solar system, right? That's where the Galactic Alliance and many other worlds and actually many other galaxies come together to form alliances and stuff here within our own solar system on Jupiter. So within the Jupiter planet, by the way, all civilizations are they're inside Jupiter. They're not outside. That's why when we send probes to Jupiter, we don't see anything on the surface because all the activity is taking place inside Jupiter. But once we pierce inside the planet, my friend, there's freaking all kinds of structures and lands and extraterrestrials and Earth delegates that are all kind of working together within Jupiter. They call it the Jupiter Command. But within that Jupiter Command, from memories of being part of Radiant Gardens, the off-world super soldier program, is that they map out the entire cosmos. right? Just like I explained it, everything has a Stargate number. So they have the omniverse, as they call it, and within the omniverse, an infinite number of universes. Well, each universe has a number. Each universe is organized within the greater cosmic, domain. And then if you want to go to a particular universe, there's the computer is like a hologram. You're just kind of like what we see in Avengers, like Tony Stark when he goes like that. You're able to actually, yeah, exactly. Well, where do you think the writers of Marvel Comics get all their information from? They get it from whistleblowers or insiders that have been secret space programs. But yeah, that's interesting. How they map out the cosmos. It's like a big holographic hologram that shows you all the different universes, and how each universe is existing in like one of the minor cosmic sectors and the major cosmic sectors, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. It's interesting when you said, and also I think I need to correct myself. I think I said Bucharest for Hungary. It's Budapest. Bucharest is Romania. Budapest 88 is for Hungary. Hungary is 94, which is November, Ace of Spades. And I was listening to when you were adding up all the different sectors, and so when we got to, if I've done it correctly, before we got to the 606 level, it added up to 263, all the levels you mentioned. And 263 comes to God eternal within the body. And that's Greg Braden. And his name comes to 88, which comes to Trump. And he talks about the divine matrix, and he talks about this code, this actual sentence that they found in DNA, which spells out the sentence, God eternal within the body, 263, so. And 606 or 6, if you drop the 0, 66 is happy, 66 is woman, 66 is event. And we're looking for major events, aren't we? Major events from the heavens, to come and move the board, move the pieces around and get us on our way, Yeah. 7th is 93. Jupiter's 99. 99 is Illinois. So you've got this Carbondale, Illinois, 174, 75 plus 99. Jupiter's 99. Patriot, Ascension, 99. Judgment, 99. There's actually a place called Jupiter, not far above Mar-a-Lago. So you've got Palm Beach, maybe, I don't know, somewhere between maybe 8 to 13, 15 miles up north from there is Jupiter. There's a golf course, and I think one of his other properties are there as well. Jupiter's like, it's interesting, all these places. Talking of another one, so on that path of trajectory of the eclipse, the eclipse, when you look on, there's maps of it, and they show, computer images of it, and it's quite wide as well, because it's, it's big. So the actual one is on Carbondale, Illinois, but then somewhere within that belt, it looks like there's many towns, and I noticed a couple that stood out to me, because obviously when the path moves, it's going to be the area below, the land below will be engulfed in darkness for a period of time, either totally or partially. But along that line, within that, if I looked at it correctly on the map, there's 2 towns that stood out to me. One is Windsor for the Royals, and just southwest of that is Clinton, and they're both going to be enveloped in darkness while that eclipse happens. So I thought that's quite on point as well,
Yeah, speaking about the Royals, I've heard that the Royals are about to they're about to go down.
They're about to fall over, aren't they?
All right, I think Charles is the last. After him, that's it. The Windsors are done with.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense, because the entire cabal structure has been prophesied to fall at the shift of ages, which is, say, 2024 will be the shift of ages, especially with if the solar flash does come in, as I saw in my vision years ago. That's going to totally be the demarcation between the old era and the rise of the new era.
Yeah. World Vision is 88. Trump, 88 constellations. Talking of the zodiac, because I thought about that when you were talking about that. So I've heard as well that there may even be a 13th one. I think it's an arachnid sign. So even if it was 13 plus the 88, that takes you to 101, which is Melchizedek, which is eternal. Girdle door, which is a portal down here. Portals is 101. Rainbows is 101. Saw some interesting rainbows here. I did in the sea just yesterday. And other parts of the country had rainbows, and that's all connected with, you know, with Noah. And Noah's 38 gold. So if you do Noah the water, it's 138. Donald Trump revaluation, the savior, the reset. The gold reset, 138. So everything is all coming together. 185 is Donald John Trump. 185 is Book of Revelation. 185 is the gold, the silver reset. 185 is the Matrix reset. It's going to be biblical. Let's get these things, these heavens in the. They talk about a sky event. I've been thinking that might be a disclosure, like in Superman. You know, when the council on Krypton, they talk in this kind of in the sky. I think that'd be a great way to do disclosure, because everybody will be able to see that and remember it. But maybe it's just natural events in the sky, like the eclipse. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both.
Well, the Bible, the book Revelation in the Bible does talk about how right before the shift of ages occurs, there's going to be something happening in the sky.
Sky event. Yeah.
Sky. So I don't know. That could be the solar flash. That could be something where, you know, we're going to all of a sudden, you know, the veil that separates our reality from the extraterrestrial community, which is already here, by the way. What if it's fully lifted, and all of a sudden we see ships, we see extraterrestrials walking among us, and they've always been here. We see Tartaria, the restoration of Tartaria. See, Tartaria, Tartaria is yeah, of course, you know, in our reality from the three-dimensional perspective, it was destroyed through mudslides. But from a higher perspective, what if they ascended into the fourth and fifth the earth? What if they're going to be there when this veil shut, you know, completely becomes eliminated?
Yeah,
because I do believe Tartaria was real. I actually did a video on my YouTube channel a few days ago about Tartaria and how, you know, it was a civilization that probably could go back, that you could trace back to 4,000 years ago. It was a global civilization. I personally believe that it was built by Solomon the Wise. Yeah, because Solomon the Wise had access to advanced technology 4,000 years ago. You know, he had access to free energy, advanced anti-gravity aircraft, magnetic type of hover cars, and, you know, beyond electricity, beyond Edison. And as to why they call him Solomon the Wise. And according to my research, it is believed that even the Great Wall of China was actually not built by the Chinese, but built by the Tartarians. And as to why it is so high is because the Tartarians were actually a tall race. They wanted to keep away the barbarians from coming into their land, and that's why they built the Wall of China, you know. But at one point it did encompass all of Russia, Mongolia, China, and I believe Eastern Europe at one point.
Solomon the Wise, 192.
Son of King David.
Yeah. Well, Solomon is 103, which is Jack Kennedy, September Princess. President Trump did a joke when he did the second part of the Abraham Accords. He joked. He said, "Oh, I wanted to call them the Donald John Trump Accords," but the press wouldn't like that, so call them the Abraham Accords. But in that clip, you can watch it on the, you know, on the 45 YouTube archive for the White House. He mispronounces someone's name, someone in the Middle East, and he calls him Solomon. Keeps saying Solomon, and he's doing a Trumpism. He's deliberately doing it. So he's making reference to Solomon, and I was like, is he telling us he's Solomon? Is he telling us he was Jack Kennedy, that one POTUS at that time? You know, I guess we're going to find out. Sky event is heaven event, because it's 55 sky, or heaven 55, or Melania, or JFK JR, or December. Event is 66, but adding together is 121. 121 is the Trump. 121 is Revelation. And why does Revelation talk about all these Trumps? You know, his name's on the tin. I've been telling people that for the last almost 4 years, you know, and they're like, no, not that Trump. So yeah, it is. And there's a number of Trumps, you know, he's got his family members, etc. But 121 Revelation, Sky Event 121, the Trump 121 is also magic Tartaria or Tartarian magic. So maybe, like you say, with the Sky Event, the solar flash, and maybe we see all these other things, including Tartaria, coming back. That'd be great. Bring it on. We want this. We want the 3D to go, and we want all the other upgrades. Is what we want. Definitely. We're ready. We're ready.
Yeah, I also heard that due to the hollow structure of the Earth, that there's different layers and caverns within the Earth where a lot of these civilizations went. I guess Tartaria, the remnant survivors of Tartaria, after they were deliberately destroyed by the reptilians. The reptilians are the ones that have destroyed. You know, they had their hand in a lot of the declining of advanced civilizations throughout all of history here on this planet. And I received revelations from my galactic family, the Lyrans, that the reason the reptilians, in collaboration with the Cabal, destroyed Tartaria was because Tartaria was so advanced that it was an impediment to their plans of looshing our planet and keeping us in a slave system society. You know, that's why they introduced Edison as opposed to Tesla technology. So Tesla, who was also Russian, might have been one of the last survivors from Tartaria, from what I understand. But that's why they destroyed Tartaria.
Russian Serbia.
Yeah, correct. So Tartaria was a threat to the Cabal families who lived outside of Tartaria. And so the Cabals petitioned the negative extraterrestrials, similar to how John Dee petitioned the reptilians, you know, back in 500 years ago to destroy the Spanish armadas when they were coming through the sea by creating tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes in the sea. You know, it's the same thing, man. These black magicians, man, who work at the highest level of the Cabal, man, they've always been in cahoots with negative extraterrestrials, you know, the Greys and the reptilians. And so it was them who destroyed Tartaria. And so the remnant survivors of Tartaria actually ended up going into the inner Earth. And that's why they're trying so hard to have access to the inner Earth in Antarctica. You know, Antarctica is the key here, man, is the continent, brother. The continent of all secrets, man, where both the white hats and whatever's left of the Cabal, man, they're trying so hard to access what's underneath the ice, which is really the first layer to the inner Earth civilizations.
It's interesting you mentioned Lyrans. So I knew someone that was she told me she was Lyran. Yeah, 222, 1,000 years apiece. The Winter White House or White House, Wyndham, New Yorker. So 222. If you're listening, get back in touch. Yeah.
Well, all humans throughout the universe descended from the original Lyran human race.
Right.
There's just different variations of human beings, you know. Even the Pleiadians.
Isn't the Lyran kind of the cat people as well?
Well, yeah. Well, the original Lyrans were cat people. Yeah, but also the original humans developed in Lyra after the cat people. So the cat people came first, the felines. Yeah. They're actually called the Urma. That's their original ET name. And then they brought genetics from across many universes to create a very perfect superhuman prototype, which were the original Lyrans. Okay. Yeah, and then from the original Lyrans, who were actually made immortal, they weren't mortal, you know, due to the fact that they were attacked by the Draco, the reptilians from Orion. They fled. Most of them fled into, you know, to different galaxies, to different star systems, and that's how the human race dispersed to the different solar systems and different galaxies within our universe, was following their onslaught from the Dracos. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so they've always sought refuge, you know, and again, it's history repeating itself. Look at the original Israelites. How many times did the Babylonians come into power, and the original Israelites had to seek refuge, right? The 10 tribes of Israel were never lost, my friend. They were the Proto-European settlements before the rise of the Roman Empire. They were the ancient Druidics, Celts. They were the original Vikings. They were the original Visigoths, the Ostrogoths. which later collapsed Rome down to its knees. Of course, history books say, yeah, they were barbaric tribes, but as I revealed here, they weren't. They were the lost 10 tribes of the original Israelites, which again have nothing to do with the Zionists of today. They have nothing to do with the people of Israel today. Those people are not the real Jews, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting. Children of Israel comes to, let me just double check because I've not done this for a while, but it comes to 158, which is remember. Do you remember the 5th of November? There's also Children of Israel, 5th of November, the 5th of November. I wonder what's coming. Malachi 3:10, 310th day of the year this year is November 5th.
Mhm.
And Malachi 3:10 is a description of Nasar and Jasara. Yeah, children of Israel. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 158. Week to remember. A week to remember is 159, which is John F. Kennedy Jr. The Chinese elders 159. A week to remember. Something's coming this round. Something's coming.
Yeah,
There's
it is. I heard that. Pretty soon people are going to have to like convert their US dollar to the USS note. Very, very soon. The redistribution of money is coming. I mean, like I said, even back then in 2008 when I talked about it here, there was a reason why they took down the two twins, right? Back in September, there was a reason because that's where all the original Nasara records were, right? That was where they had all the documented evidence to expose the dark cats, and of course that was a huge letdown to the White Knights, as I used to call in my book, the White Knights. So, if people want to find this book, it's going to be available in the next week. You go to my website, artcosmicorigin.com, Art Cosmic Origin. I could actually give you the link if you can, put it on the description.
Yeah, we'll put the link. We'll put the link.
People could understand the history of both the White Knights, what we call today the White Hats, and the Dark Cats. The Dark Cats come from Babylon, and yes, they have a reptilian association, right? Fallen angelics, and then the White Knights are working with the angelics, the positive races. So it all boils down to the idea that we are living in the duality, and there are two forces at play, two brotherhoods. One brotherhood wants to create a world fascist empire, and the other brotherhood wants to free humanity. And really what it boils down to is that these two brotherhoods are fundamentally revolving around two different philosophies. Okay, so the White Brotherhood, which I call in my book the Order of Light, which also include women, by the way. Women in the past were high priestess after the Order of Melchizedek, and they were equal to men. It was when the Dark Brotherhood created the Roman Empire and then later reorganized as the Roman Catholic Church, where they completely eliminated women and called Mary Magdalene called her, what do they call her? They called her they called her a prostitute, when in essence she was the wife of Jeshua, believe it or not. And she also had 12 Magdalenes. But the whole point is that that the Brotherhood of Light has their philosophy has always been based on the idea that men was once a divine being and is in a fallen state. So the whole purpose of establishing the rightful educational system is to reconnect everyone to their divinity. All right. That was their philosophy. That's why they conflicted with the Dark Brotherhood's philosophy. Now, the Dark Brotherhood's philosophy was under the erroneous idea that man was an irrational animal and needed to be controlled. And we see this exemplified through the philosophers that they promoted during the Romanticist period, such as Immanuel Kant, who said man was an irrational animal. Also, Friedrich Hegel, the guy who gave us the Hegelian method, right? Create the problem, people react to the problem, and then they offer the solution they wanted, right? That's the same method they've been employing. And then, of course, we had Friedrich Nietzsche, the father of nihilism, right? National Socialism, fascism. I mean, all those guys were who actually took his philosophy from Carl Ritter, who was the original nihilist. But all those people were educated by, I don't want to say the International Military Order of the Society of Jesuits. That's all I'm going to say. They were all controlled by the Black POP, right? The Planetary Sith Lord.
Palpatine. Yeah.
Palpatine. There we go. Let's call him Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine.
But yeah, you could order my book through my website, or cosmicorigin.com. It's going to be ready in the next week.
Brilliant. We'll put the link up. It's interesting you talk about the white knights. So knights is 88. I said knights earlier on. I should have said knights. I might have said knights. Knight is 69. Checkmate, people, financial. Code check from the film Tenet happens. The 246 number. Code check. 246 is in the twinkling of an eye. Yes, the 5th of November. Anyway, that's another thing, but it's all connected. But you said so white knights, or the white knights, comes to 186, the Galactic Federation.
See, there you go. They are they're the good guys on a galactic level, right?
Yeah, exactly. Black Swan event is 153, which is white knights. So something's coming. The Black Swan event is 185, Donald John Trump. There was a Black Swan event, and you mentioned it, in 2001, and we were told with Space Odyssey that something was happening then, and 2001 didn't happen, didn't it, with September? But you talked about the two twins. So 185 is World Trade Center, which is Book of Revelation, which is Donald John Trump, which is the Matrix reset. So that was them trying to do that, but then we come back, so that was a spiritual attack on President Trump then. And just across the water, 198 is Statue of Liberty, which is President Trump, the resurrection. And people go on about the Statue of Liberty, and yeah, it probably was what they say back in the time, but I think it's been reversed. I always get good codes with it now. I think it's an iconic thing. I don't think it will get pulled down. Some people say it will. I guess time will tell, but I think it's iconic, and it can be a symbol for truth for people. Building 7, Ground Zero, they're both 143, which is Melania Trump. So there was an attack on that. And why did Barron wear the T-shirt about Building 7, asking the question? Because he knows the significance of it, because Melania Trump is 143, and 143 is also November 5th. So November 5th and September 11th are both intrinsically connected. They're both intrinsically connected. I've known that for a while, and I'm looking forward to the reversal of the events of back then. And I do think those things will change. I think eventually, when they're all said and done, I think we're going to see those two come back, and they'll keep the one that's there. And the reason for that, there's 3 of them. And when you look at the sky, then it will be 3 buildings, 111, which comes to perfection, and 111 comes to New York. So I think it will be a restoration. That's what I feel, Yeah,
because in an alternative Earth, they never fell. They're still there.
There you go. Thank you, buddy. That's it. That's it. That's exactly it. You tune in, and 114 is frequency, and how do you change and history? So history is 114, frequency is 114, trump card is 114, JFK Jr., or the full word Junior, 87, or JFK Justice, JFK Truth, JFK Stella. They're all 114. And how do you change your history? You change your frequency, because it's another dimension, because that's what it is,
That's the latest revelations in cutting edge science, that according to quantum physics, all Earths are happening at the same time. Each Earth has a different history with a different set of events, and the only way to jump, what they call a quantum jump, from one reality to another reality, because you have versions of yourself on these alternative Earths, just like I do, and there's an infinite number of versions of us. All we have to do is change our frequency, and that's how really the law of attraction works. It's not that we are attracting through our thoughts and emotions, is that we're shifting the vibrational frequency to match the particular Earth where we are already liberated, sovereign, and full of abundance.
And sovereign comes to 114, which comes to frequency.
Everything comes down to frequency, right? Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. This might be a good thing for another show. So, you've mentioned we talk about meditating and because the word vibrate is 77, hertz, the unit that measures frequency, is 77, Christ is 77, power is 77, matter, so materialize is 77. There's others as well. I think I have to check. There's a few others, but I wonder if there's a precise way that we can measure our frequency. So if we, because we've heard it a lot, but if we say, okay, to change our frequency to go on, say for example, there's 100 versions, there's unlimited versions of our reality. But if we say, right, we want to just pick one to 100, just for argument's sake. So if we want to go to sector 88 of our alternate reality, is there a way we can change our frequency in a deliberate, precise way and measure it, and therefore end up in that reality? How do we do that?
Yes, there is. I teach that in my course. That's one of the things that I'm going to be offering through my website is I'm going to be teaching a meditation technique that will allow you to actually shift to any particular alternative earth where you are in abundance, in perfect health, liberated, full, a perfect sovereign being made in the image of God. So there are meditative techniques, brother. Oh, heck yeah, there are. How do you think the shamans and the monks and the sages and the mystics do it? Right? Because it's all within what you do, what spiritual practice you implement.
So can that, because spiritual is 125 time travel. So it's interesting you say it that way. John Kennedy 125. 8th Avenue, where Tesla building is 125. Time travel 125. Dark to light 125. So if we're able to do that, if we've got the version of us here right now that still is subject to some things like, hassles in life. I mean, don't get us wrong, we're all upgrading and ascending, and the life is getting better for all of us. But, we still have sometimes colds or sniffles or physical ailments or things that, we'd rather do without. Are we able to just literally go straight to the version 88 and be there in paradise and everything else? And then do we just leave it? So, do we just disappear, or are we connected to both and we go between the two? And it's like, okay, we've still got a mission to fulfill here, but can we spend more time in the other version, or be aware of spending more time in that other version? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, we're here right now. I'm talking to you on, for argument's sake, level 1. Just if we want to go to level 88 and we change our frequency to do it, can our main consciousness, our main focus of consciousness, be experiencing it just like we are now? I mean, maybe we're experiencing it over in 88, but we're not really aware of that. So I'm just wondering, can we go from here to there and actually be like, hey, we're in a far better universe, and if we needed to come back, we could, but I don't even know why we would come back. Is it just to help bring other souls over, to bring our version of us over there? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like our focal point right now, as far as I'm aware, is me talking to you in sector 1, reality version 1. If 88 is far better, let's all go there right now instantly and forget about all this,
Well, we are there's a version of all of us already there, where there is no fall, where we're all living in perfect harmony with one another and with the ecosystem.
So how does this version of us that feels this go to 88 and experience 88? Because that could exactly be the case, and we're living and aware of it there. But right now, us here, this version of us feels kind of still a bit clunky. We're ascending, but we're still not quite there. And it's like, is there a way to just evaporate all the nonsense and be unified with 88, or go to 88, or make version 1 88?
Yes, there is a way, and you don't have to skip other versions 2 to 87 to get there. No, they're only one vibrational frequency away. They're all happening at the same time, brother. They're not. It's not in a chronological consecutive form. It's all happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is change your frequency to match the vibrational frequency of Earth 88 version, and you become the Tom numbers there in the Earth 88 version. That's as simple as that. It's not complicated. It's not a rocket science. It's just
let's do it. Let's get the whole planet to go to version.
It's learning.
Let's do it. Let's do a harmonic group thing and just be like, let's go.
It's really just the restructuring of your belief systems. Really, it's all here. Consciousness is what holds reality together. That's been proven over and over through the double slit experiment, which baffles scientists today. Right? Everything is, there is no me or you. When it comes down to it, it's just one big wave of potential that's collapsing into particle Tom and particle Ishmael, but as we are conscious and aware, but the moment we shift our consciousness and awareness from that, guess what? Tom, the particle of Tom and the particle of Ishmael collapses back into the one wave. And so there's technically no me or you.
Yeah.
It's all held together by perception. So it's all here, brother. It's all here.
So when you do your course that you teach how to do that, are you able to go to sector version 88 and actually feel just totally at one? Like, what's the point of coming back to this slightly inferior version? That's the question.
Who says I'm in version 1? I could be broadcasting to you from version 88.
But you know what, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. I know what
you know what I'm saying. It's like, because we're all, you know, that's what our audience are always on their tippy toes waiting. They're waiting for the jump to 88, the ascension, the solar flash, for the white hats to, you know, come to cut that's what our audience, that's what they feel, because we're part. They feel that all the time, every waking minute of the day, and they want a better reality. And the question is, how do we get to that? And if it's as simple as changing our frequency, then why don't we just do it right now?
Why don't we just change everybody's frequency together?
Yeah, why don't we just do that now? You know, do you know what I mean? It's like, why don't we just do that now, and just everybody go into
over to the mirror,
go from black and white to the Wizard of Oz and go to Technicolor. Let's do that. You know, it's like, that's because everyone's on tenterhooks waiting for it to shift. And it's like, we get piercings of the veil, we get to see things coming, but it's like, if we can actually put them, and it's as simple as changing our frequency. Maybe they don't know how to do it. Why don't we just do that for all of us? Why don't we just go, boom, we've gone from black and white with Toto, and we're into Technicolor.
Because the thing about shifting everybody's, because there's still free will, and some people just they still don't get it. So if we could first educate people on how quantum shifting works, well, that's the first thing. And then secondly,
that's what we should do. This is what people want, Ishmael, and it's all right. We could do it as a course. I get that, but then if it's a course, and I'm not, and I know everyone needs, you know, I promote things and sell things, and you do, but what I'm saying, if it's literally we can do that, why don't we just give it to everybody? If people want to donate, they can. But if it's something like that and it actually works and we can do it, then you'd be the richest man in the world. You know, instantly like that. It wouldn't matter either.
Well, we all would be, because you know, we all would be the richest man and woman in the world. Because
exactly, we all would be. That's where it's going. That's what's going to happen. We're all going to have shared wealth and resources. So there won't be like, oh, you know, someone in the corner of the room's got millions of times more than everyone else, because then we're back to square one and the whole problem is frustrated.
We're all going to have replicators and have anything we want within minutes. All we got to do is type it in what we want: a new Lamborghini, a new house, boom, there it goes. You know, it's 3D on steroids. New house, boom, there it goes. New house, within minutes you have a new house that you could, you know, design it the way you want.
Exactly. Well, why don't we do that then? Like, why don't we just open it up? Because honestly, we'll get hundreds of thousands of people tuning in. If we can teach that to them, how to do it, we'd make a massive shift. Because people want it. If that's literally what you're able to teach them how to do, Ishmael, that's what people want. That people need that, and it wouldn't be a few thousand people watching it. It would be millions of people watching it. You know,
that's a great idea. Well, that's the goal. That's why.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's do the next. Why don't we do that? If you're happy to, why don't we do the next show, and you teach us like you do in your paid course, and we can set up a link, and people will donate. We'll put your link up, and so people can donate and just send a PayPal to you. So some people can watch it for free, but there's lots of generous people in the community, and they'll be happy to donate. And so you make loads more sales than you would just, you know, as it's just a course they got to go on. But if you're happy to do it, why don't we do that on the next show? And you take us through it, and let's go to Sector 88, you know, and people will they'll chuck everything at you. They'll be like, take that, you know, it'll be 100 times more than you would just make on ordinary sales, you know, because it'd be liberating. And if you're up for something like that, let's do it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Okay, let's do it. You heard it here. Ishmael's going to teach us how to change our frequency, how to measure our frequency, so we can go to an upgraded version of reality. And if you want to donate, by all means do that. If you can't or you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you open it, that's the 5D. Mark Atwood does that, the 5D economics. It's like if you can contribute, great. If you can't, doesn't. And he's like a male stripper. They chuck money at him, so it works. I thought you'd like that, Mark. You've never thought of yourself as a male stripper, but
Never.
So no, I'm talking about Mark Atwood. Mark Atwood as a male stripper. What I'm saying is that's his business model. So people just chuck cash at him, So I'm saying it would. So let's do that for this. But you won't even need money in the new one because you have a replicator. So let's do that then, Ishmael. Let's do that. Let's do that. When we'll have to look at the calendar. But when do you think is good for us to do the next show? Because this has got energy. This has got zing. This is 2024. This is pre-solar flash off. Let's do it.
We could do it in a month.
Okay. Good. So we're 3rd of March today. This will be great. This will be a few days before the crisscross in the sky with the eclipse. We'll do it at the beginning of April. We'll do it in a month.
Okay.
Okay. Good on you, sir. See everybody. Click all of Ishmael's links because he's going to give us the secret sources. He's going to take us into Neverland. So
take you guys to the 88 version of the Earth where everything is mighty dandy for everyone.
Amazing. Let's do it. Brilliant. Thank you, brother. That will raise the consciousness of the sector here that we're in, and it will take some of us over there. So that would be brilliant. Or vibrate into it. I say over there. I know I'm doing a 3D version, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yep. It's actually it's here. It's just in a different frequency. It's it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Different frequency.
It's a wave and it's here. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You're still gonna have your same house. You're still gonna be wearing the same clothes, but you're just all of a sudden synchronicities are gonna be happening. Things are gonna be opening up for you. Things are gonna be going your way, and you're just gonna be like, oh, okay, I like this new version of the Earth.
Brilliant. That's what they want. If you want this, people let us know in the comments because there'll be a load of people wanting it. So, okay, you're on. Thanks, buddy. That will really make a big ripple effect around the community and the Earth. That would be fun to see the results of that. So, good on you. Good man. Good man.
Good to know. Thank you. And don't forget to stay alert for my upcoming book, The Secret Government, guys.
It's available in about a week's time. So we'll have the link below. So people get the link, save it, and you can order that and that would be good prep for the course for the live transformation event.
Because part of the course, when it comes to quantum jumping or the ascension, I actually talk about in the last 2 chapters, and I go into detail. I talk about how to, the different levels of initiation and how to master each level. So, it's all in this book. And you can get it through my website, ourcosmicorigin.com. Ourcosmicorigin.com.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, guess what? Quantum jump. Okay, here we go. I figured out this one. So jump is JUMP. Yeah. So quantum jumping. I do love all this. So quantum jumping is 197, which is every last secret, which is also the 5th of November, quantum jumping. So
well, there you go. See?
Good stuff. All right, my friend. Well, this has been good. This has been enjoyable. So I'm juiced about this. I'm like, this is the sort of stuff people always kind of poo-poo it, and they talk about it, but they're never like, okay, let's do it. So this is good. This is good.
Thank you, Tom. So we will see you in 30 days.
Godspeed. Thanks, Ishmael. Take care, brother.
The God force be with you all.
You too. Take care, man. Bye.
Good.